We're going to go through some kind of dramatic dodging and burning with a few photographs. We've gone over some of the initial steps for editing, but again, the first thing I want to do is some level adjustment. I'll get this image where I think I might want it. And then, the sky is pretty blown out. The building gets a little bit lighter towards the edges. This is a little light or a little dark underneath there. So if I want to do some tweaking, I want to make some adjustments to address those things. So I'm going to create another level adjustment, and I'm going to brighten it up just to get that underside of the tree where I want. Obviously, this area gets a little too dark. So I'm going to go to my brush. I've selected black and white. When you're using the layer mask, when you're on that layer mask, whatever color you've chosen, it's black and white. So if I press D for default, it switches to white and black. And then my hardness, again, is at 0. And then wherever I paint black is going to erase that adjustment. I can lower my opacity to do that more slowly, to feather things. I'm just going to darken. So leaving the underside of that tree. Switch to white. I've got too dark, so lightening that up. And I can, if I want to adjust it, click back on that adjustment and say, all right, let's make it a little brighter. And so that kind of emphasizes, you can see where it didn't paint away. I'm going to lower my opacity to be able to paint that in a little bit more slowly. All right. Okay. So now I'm going to make another adjustment. Click back on there. Another level adjustment. And this time I'm going to darken things. So I'm going to get kind of the building where I want it to look. There we go. And again, I'm going to paint it away. Now, you can also do this more quickly. So instead of a paintbrush, if I switch to my paint bucket and I just paint everything black, it removes that entire adjustment that I just made. And so now I can just work with my paintbrush and white to paint it back in. So again, we'll bring that opacity back up. So I know I want these edges to be darker, that tree to be richer. Get into here. I'll lighten that a little bit more. Now I can switch back. This gets a little too dark. Painting in. Here's my initial image. Just a general adjustment, lightening that, darkening that. And we could go one step further. I might do something with brightness and contrast. So this time I might, darken everything, increase some of the contrast. I'm looking at the building, that texture coming out here. And so then again, paintbrush. Start with taking out and it's always good to turn that layer on and off just because you can get very used to the heavy-handedness of it. And again, my screen brightness is at about half to 2/3, so I'm not making an image too bright for print. But I may want a little more. Again, I can go back to that adjustment and increase the contrast even more if I need to. I think starting out with good light, so you know where you're going when you're dodging and burning and editing, as opposed to trying to create this kind of look in Photoshop, you're always going to be more successful. But even though this is a strong image, there's some things that we can, adjust, some things we can tweak. First cropping out this, crop tool, holding shift, get out that edge. And then starting again with my levels adjustment. I'm pretty happy. I don't want to lose those highlights. I'm going to brighten it up again just to bring out some of the shadows, details. In her eyes are getting a little dark. That's where I'm looking right now. Just so I have more latitude, more room to adjust other things. And then I'm going to paint away that adjustment. So going to my brush, switching to black, I'll lower the opacity a little bit. And now, I can start just putting back in that contrast. And I'm always checking, the original image. Like I like how dark this gets over here. Again, I can press spacebar at any point, switch over to the hand tool, let go, and it pops right back to my tool. Seeing again. darken that background. I'm going to jump back up to 100%. I liked the way we had that background looking. And then I can, you know, if I want to create a little more drama, go back to my levels. And another adjustment that I can make is my curves. So it's kind of like levels, but it's on more of a three-dimensional, you know, axis. I have two axes now instead of just levels, you know, linearly. So I can, you know, this is going to adjust my highlights. This is going to adjust my shadows. And then as I bring them, it's creating a little bit more of, you know, it's kind of like adjusting contrast along with exposure. You can also see that the colors are changing a little bit because, you know, the shadows are made up of colors. I can specifically tweak different channels. Get rid of, so I can adjust just the red channel or just the green or blue channel. If I want to warm up, you know, if I look at the background as a little bit too blue, I can make it a little more green. Get it back, well, make it bluer. I can warm it up a little bit, get it a little bit grayer. So that's before. It's that curves adjustment. But I can, again, I can create some more drama in that background. And then again, paint away. So lower my opacity. Back up, make sure I'm getting rid of all that. So again, here's my original. That's my initial level adjustment. That's the background. You know, and then I might go in to adjust my color balance. So I might, dealing with my midtones, I might warm up things a bit. I might go to my shadows and I might cool those down. Notice how it's also darkening the image because those shadows are comprised of a particular color. If I'm removing red from the shadows, it's going to change that. So I have to be careful. You know, I feel like saying, oh, it's a little, got a little too red in there. Okay. So there's my before. So again, if I want to keep all of that, save as. Edit. And then if I'm done, I will flatten it. And save as. Change my format to JPEG.